Hello everyone, and welcome back to Turkish Spotlight Secrets. Thank you for tuning in for another deep dive into the moments that have Turkish entertainment fans talking non-stop. If you love keeping up with your favorite stars, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, because today's story is the kind that makes you smile without even realizing it. Our spotlight returns to sunlit Greece, where Barış and Elçin Sanga found themselves at the center of a tender scene that quickly traveled across borders and feeds. The pair, whose chemistry and mutual respect have captured hearts for years, were already trending because of their getaway. But what truly turned heads wasn't a flashy event or a staged appearance. It was an unscripted, quietly beautiful encounter inside a cozy Greek restaurant, where they were greeted with warmth by locals and Turkish tourists alike. People who were there say it happened in the evening, the hour when the air cools gently and the streets soften into a golden calm. Barış and Elçin opted for a small, unpretentious spot known for its homemade flavors and soft amber lighting, the kind of place that lets you exhale. They slipped in casually, dressed simply, nothing to distract from the easy contentment that comes from wandering a city and sharing small discoveries. Their plan was clearly a peaceful dinner, a little time just for themselves after a day exploring sea-blue views and narrow stone paths. But it didn't stay quiet for long, and it didn't need to. A small group of Turkish fans noticed them almost immediately. There was no rush, no chaos. Only warm smiles and restrained excitement as they greeted from a polite distance first, as if to ask permission with their eyes. The remarkable part, and what everyone keeps repeating, is how gracefully Barış and Elçin answered that unspoken question. They didn't hide behind menus or hurry to protect their privacy. Instead, they opened themselves to the moment with a calm generosity that felt completely natural. Witnesses say Elçin was the first to lift her hand in a gentle wave, that unmistakable smile breaking like sunlight. Barış followed with a soft nod and a relaxed, friendly expression that told the room they were welcome to approach. When fans asked if they could say hello, the answer arrived without a flicker of hesitation. One young woman later wrote online that her hands were trembling as she stepped closer. She said Elçin reached out first to steady her with a tender touch, almost as if to say, "Breathe, we're here." Meanwhile, Barış asked about her own trip to Greece, where she'd been, what she'd tasted, whether the sea felt different from home. The way he listened left a lasting impression, present, quiet, curious. It's the kind of patience their longtime supporters always talk about, and that evening it was on full display. The restaurant owner echoed the praise. He told those who asked that the pair treated everyone with unfailing respect, even as more people drifted in after realizing who had taken that corner table. What began as a private dinner cleverly turned into a small fan gathering, and both of them navigated it with grace as steady as a heartbeat. They made time for photos and autographs, for quick conversations with families, for smiles with teens who discovered them online, and for heartfelt exchanges with older admirers who still remember the early days of their performances. Then there was the moment that traveled farthest. A little girl, cheeks flushed with shyness, edged toward Elçin while clutching a small notebook. Her family had come from Izmir. She had recognized Elçin the instant she saw her. Elçin didn't tower above her. She knelt down so their eyes could meet. She took the notebook, wrote a sweet, encouraging message, and wrapped the child in a gentle hug that made the girl's face brighten like a lantern. Barış joined with that quiet big brother warmth he's known for, shook the child's hand with care, and told her she was very brave. Someone filmed the exchange from a respectful distance, and by the time the night was through, the clip was finding its way across timelines. Shared, reshared, and celebrated for all the right reasons. Many fans said the same thing, this is why they continue to adore these two. Fame hasn't made them cold or unreachable. Even while traveling on their own time, they didn't treat the people who love their work as an interruption. They made room for them, and in doing so reminded everyone of the generous spirit that helped build their careers. Eventually, the informal meet and greet eased back into dinner. Barış and Elçin returned to their seats and finally placed their order. Those nearby described them as genuinely relaxed, smiles easy, shoulders loose, conversation light and intimate in that quiet way old friends and trusted partners speak. They laughed at private jokes, leaned in to share stories from the day, and let the evening fold around them like a comfortable shawl. Their connection, people said, seemed unforced, the kind of bond that doesn't need to make a noise to be heard. It read as friendship, as collaboration, as something deeper if you wanted to believe it. Mostly, it read as trust. Their presence didn't just resonate with Turkish fans. A few Greek customers recognized them from viral clips rather than television screens. Curiosity turned into goodwill as they approached to congratulate them on their craft, on the feeling they could transmit through a glance, a silence, a shared breath. Barış and Elçin received the compliments with gratitude, the kind that lands softly and sincerely. In that moment, the whole place felt like a friendly crossroads, two cultures sharing food, music, and admiration without needing translation. When their plates arrived, they took small pauses between bites to acknowledge those still waiting patiently for a chance to say hello. The staff, by all accounts, handled it beautifully, offering space, timing refills, and gently guiding the room so the evening kept its calm heartbeat. The atmosphere grew warm with the kind of collective contentment you only feel when everyone is rooting for the same happiness. Later, when they stood to leave, the crowd outside had swelled. Yet again, there was no rush. Barış stepped into a gentle conversation about roles fans still carry close to their hearts, listening thoughtfully, adding little insights without turning the night into a press conference. Elçin, meanwhile, had a line of young women and students eager to tell her how her strength on screen had inspired their own choices. She posed for photos, offered small pieces of advice, nothing preachy, just the sort of grounded encouragement people return to when the world feels loud. Someone arrived with a small box of traditional Greek desserts, still warm and dusted with sweetness, a gift of gratitude. Both accepted with big smiles, thanking the giver and promising to try every bite. Before walking into the night, they turned back to the crowd as one. Barış placed a hand on his heart in that quietly sincere gesture that always lands, while Elçin waved softly and wished everyone a beautiful trip, adding that she hoped they were enjoying Greece as much as she and Barış were. That simple kindness ignited the internet. Clips of the wave, the hug with the little girl, the calm conversations outside, their faces lit gently by street lamps, filled timelines across Turkey and beyond. The comments were a chorus, pride, joy, and the familiar refrain that these two have never let the distance of fame replace the closeness of gratitude. The story wasn't about glamour, it was about care. Observers kept returning to how synchronized they seemed the entire time. The way they greeted at the same moment, how their laughter flowed together without effort, how a glance between them could say, "Your turn, I've got you." Their trip had already triggered a wave of speculation, but the restaurant night added a glow of warmth to that buzz. Curiosity and excitement rose together, buoyed not by rumor, but by a very real display of who they are when no one is officially watching. For now, neither has made a public statement about the evening, and no one seems to need one. The gestures, the waiting, the attention, the shared desserts, spoke with a volume that press releases can't match. A smile, a nod, a hand on a child's shoulder, these things carry their own headlines. Their Greek journey continues, and so does the anticipation. Fans are keeping an eye out for fresh photos, new clips, or the chance encounter that lights up a feed in the middle of an ordinary day. And as always, we'll be here watching with you. If anything new comes to light, we'll bring it to you right away on Turkish Spotlight Secrets. Before you go, thank you for spending time with us and reliving a night that reminded everyone why this pair endures in the public imagination. Make sure to subscribe for more updates, because the road ahead is bright and full of surprises, and we'll be right here to walk it with you, one thoughtful moment at a time. And just in case you're wondering how it all felt within the room, there were quiet details that slipped into memory like sea breeze through an open window. The clink of glasses softened into a rhythm underfoot. A song from the radio, a ballad, perhaps, threaded through the space. The staff moved with practiced kindness, eyes attuned to the balance between privacy and welcome. Barış leaned back at one point, smiling at something else and said, and those at the neighboring table swore his laugh could have come from a much younger man on a much earlier summer, one before the schedules and the lights. Elçin tucked a strand of hair behind her ear and gestured animatedly as she told a story. The room seemed to lean in, as if even the walls were curious. You could sense how travel softens the edges, how being away from familiar places can make connection feel new again. They tasted dishes that carried stories, recipes passed down by hands that learned by watching. They listened. They shared. And then they gave a little more, until the evening itself seemed to smile back. That's the part the videos couldn't perfectly capture, the hush, the hum, the calm assurance that kindness multiplies. When the night finally folded, the street smelled faintly of sea salt and citrus. The last photo was taken, the last autograph signed. Someone called out a blessing for safe travels. Another shouted, "Come back soon." They didn't promise, but they didn't say no either. They let the moment answer for them, an open-ended goodbye, the sort that turns into a memory before you've even walked around the corner. So the clips keep looping, and the comments keep growing, and the story keeps expanding with each person who tells it in their own words. But at its center, it remains simple. Two artists who met their admirers with patience and gratitude, who treated a crowd like family and a restaurant like a bridge. In a world that moves quickly, that kind of pause is rare. And if you're still wondering what to take from it all, take this: the most talked about moments aren't always the ones arranged in advance. Sometimes they're the ones that happen when a door swings open, when strangers trade smiles, when a child's courage becomes contagious. Sometimes the truest headlines are handwritten in a small notebook, hugged close to a chest, treasured all the way home. This has been Turkish Spotlight Secrets, bringing you closer to the human heartbeat behind the famous names. Stay tuned, stay kind, and keep your notifications on. We'll be back with more stories that remind you why you fell in love with these stars in the first place.